Hello you, it's Josh here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a Kosii college course. Today we're going to be showing you how to do catwalks and also a little bit of custom supporting to go along with your lovely little custom walks things, catwalks, that's the one. I almost forgot it there. So yes, it's pretty simple this. Here is the difficulty on the screen. It's about a medium hard. If you have any questions, please do put them in the comments. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Okay, so here we are in the tutorial building arena of Death and Doom. Not just Death and Doom. As you can see over here, I have already built up a little example here. Now, I would like to point out that I will be doing just a basic example here. You can scale this to any long length, short length, medium length. You can make it steeper, you can make it more shallow. It's completely up to you, but all I'm going to be doing is a very basic example here on a that's not in the advanced editor, just so I can basically show you a very basic example of what you can do here, and then you can scale this to your own size and requirements. Anyway, so the two coasters that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be doing a bit of overlaying here just because it looks a little bit nicer. So what we're going to do here is I've just got a phase turbine coaster. The appearance I've just set to this grey right here. We're just going to go into ride and we're just going to go edit track. Click this little up button right here. Now, like I said, you can do this to anything you want. But if you'd like to just follow my tutorial completely, we're just going to be using the basic editor here just to make it all a lot more simple. Although, feel free to use the advanced editor, make it as steep or as shallow as you want here. Completely up to you. Anyway, so what we're going to do here, we're just going to click this little up arrow, and we're just going to click that load. I'm just going to go up to about right there, the same length that we went over there, and that'll be pretty much good enough. Now, what we're straight away going to do is we're going to go into appearance and we're just going to turn automatic supports off. There we go. Now, I should probably mention there is much better combinations for track overlays than what I'm doing right here. I'm just doing this one because, honestly, I'm not very experienced when it comes to track overlays, and this is the best I can do here. So, what we're going to do here, we're going to get a multi-launch coaster right here. And you're going to just place that one behind. You're going to place this one behind. Now, this is quite obvious, but you are going to need the Disable Collisions Game Pass for this one. If you do not have that, you'll not be able to do this. But, I mean, that's pretty much common sense. If you don't already know that, that is your own fault. Anyway, let's see here then. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to build one out so it fills up that station space. Because, as you can see right here, you can't actually place two stations over each other. And we're just going to place a flat straight piece of track right there. We're going to go out to the same amount, and then again we're just going to click this all the way up to the top, which that's basically created our coaster. Once again, we're just going to click on the multi-launch here, and we're just going to disable supports. Actually, sorry guys, I've just realized this is common sense, so I don't know why I forgot, but you want to add a chain lift to your multi-launch. Personally, I prefer the multi-launch train over the thingy, and I prefer this cool little chain lift to the side. But if you want to use the phase turbine, then of course, and any other tracks that you want to use here, as long as it's not inverted or too wide, it should work okay with this system. I'll do another tutorial at some point. It may even be in the iCard if it's already out, for inverted trains and also for two wide trains. If you guys want to see that, leave a like, that sort of stuff. Anyway, enough promotions. What we're going to do next then, guys, is we're going to get this pole right here. You can see this is just in primitives, and it's just this primitive cylinder right here. I colored it this color right here, as well as metal. And then what we're going to do here is we're just going to put default and default, and we're just going to click enabled on use precision build mode. Now, if you're on mobile, I don't think you can use this, but sadly there is nothing that I can do about that. I'm very sorry if you cannot use this. It just is what it is. Now, this is probably one of the hardest parts here because you want to line it up so it doesn't look wonky, and then after that you can basically work off of this all together. So what we want to do here is we want to put our rotation to no snapping here, and we also want to put our move snapping to a half, as I've already done right there. Now, what we want to do here then is just rotate this, and then we're just going to put our finger here onto no snapping. Now, what we're going to do is just lift that up to about the top of there right there. And as you can see right now, this is obviously not straight. So now this is where it comes into the very delicate stuff. We want to make sure that this is flat. So what you want to do is just keep on rotating this, lifting it up. We're just going to move this in a little bit here. In fact, let's move it up to this top one here. And you can see what we want to have here is you'll see that this top part will cover at the same time as this bottom part. Now, if this top part is covering before, that means you need to rotate it this way a little bit. And if not, and if the other way, then there you go. And that's pretty good there. It doesn't have to be exact, but if you don't quite get it exact, then it won't be very good. It'll be a little bit wonky. So yes, we want to just line that up like that. What I recommend doing is just dragging this down to where it starts being flat like that. And then going to item snapping, default, and just drag that out by 1. And there we go. That's one of the hardest parts there. If you need to pause at any point, because obviously I've done this many times before, I already know how to line it up quite well. And I'm also quite precise when it comes to this sort of stuff. But if you are having problems, of course, just pause the video and you can line that up. Anyway, once you've lined it up, you just want to, you know, if you're wondering how you can fast click here, I'm just using G here and it'll just build. And I just spam G, just drag it up. You can see you get some warning messages up at the top, but it doesn't really matter. And we're just going to drag that up all the way to the top. Now, keep in mind that this is just a very straight piece of track here. Obviously, for the curve at the bottom, you can curve it round. At the top, you can curve it round. But I'm just going to be showing you how to do this. And you can, of course, put this into any situation that you want. Like I said at the start, no matter what you're doing, you can put it into any situation. So now we've done that big main bar like that. What we want to do is just go here and we want to click Ctrl and Shift. We want to hold Ctrl Shift, be on the picker, and just click this right here like that. Quite simple. And then under primitives, we just want to come across this primitive cuboid wall, click on that, and then we want to go make sure our rotation is on 45 now. Rotate it round like that, put our move onto a half, and just shift that over like that. And then move that up so it lines up perfectly. And there you go. Now we've done that. We can of course just lift this all the way up. Oh God. We can just lift this all the way up. And that will make our catwalk. Now in the future, I was actually planning to make this more of like a staircase to make it more fancy. Although for a tutorial, this makes it much easier. And also I was quite running into problems with you've reached the max amount of items in this area. But in the future, when they raise the amount of items, you can of course turn this into a stair. And I may do another tutorial when they increase the limit. But for now, this is just going to have to do. We've just got a basic walkway, because if not, then we have to lose detail in other places. And honestly, from like this standpoint, you can't really tell that much has changed there. So it is what it is, okay? So what we're going to do here is these blue ones right here. I'm just going to color this gray here and metal plates. Something to point out here is that you probably want to color this the color of your roller coaster. I'll show you some of that a little bit later on. I'll recolor this roller coaster with some other colors and show you what that would look like. But for now, I'm just going to build this in gray, because that's the color that we're doing right here, and I'll show you that off just a little bit later. So now then, what we want to do, guys, is we're going to just grab this little thing here, this primitive cylinder right here, and of course I'm going to color it gray, and this light gray right here. And then we're just going to go onto a thingy like this. It doesn't really matter where you place this, because it just depends where your supports will be. But I'm just going to do it much easier here for you guys. And I'm just going to put it on default snapping and just click like this. Make sure you've, of course, got your precision build mode enabled. Click that in like that. And then we just want to rotate that 45 degrees. There you go. Pretty simple. Now what we're going to do is just go into custom snapping, put 0.1 there, and we're just going to lift that up just a tiny bit like that. Pretty simple, hey? Pretty simple. Not very hard yet. And then we're just going to go onto our default snapping again here, place one like this, place one like this. Now over here you'll see that I moved it out a little bit and stuck it out and connected it through to just the other side of this pole, although I personally kind of recommend this one because it looks a bit more secure, and also I feel like it looks a bit weird when it sticks out. But honestly, it's up to you. If you prefer the sticking out look, then do that. If you prefer the more flat look, then do that. It's completely up to you. Next then, so we've got our first pole there. What we just want to do then is lift this by 2 like this, and then up by 1. And then we're just going to continue doing that. In fact, no, sorry. We're going to go like this, and then of course we need to drag it in like that. So then we're just going to go back, lift it up by, lift it across by 2, up by 1, move it in, back out, move it across by 2, up by 1, put that in like that, move it across by 2, up by 1, move it in. You get the point at this point. Move it to across, up by 1, into there. Almost got it wrong. Move it across by 2, up by 1. If you haven't got it by now, I don't know how. Move it across by 2, up by 1, and across again. This is going on forever. Move across by 2. I could have just cut this out, but nope. Move it up by 1 and across there. And then, you know, we're just going to do it another 2 times here, I think is what we're going to be able to fit in here. Again, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to decide, depending on your requirements, because I can't make a tutorial for every single roller coaster ever, because every roller coaster is different. I can't just go, well, you need to do this, because every single roller coaster is going to not be identical. But we can try our best here, I guess, can't we? We can always try our best. But anyway, you can see that we've got all those poles in there now, looking very lovely. And yeah, that's all looking great now. So what we're going to do next is this lovely fence here, because I'm guessing you guys want to see how to actually do this bloody fence. So what we're going to do here then, guys, is we're just going to click on here with that. Well, we're going to actually, no, sorry, we're going to click on here using Ctrl, Shift, and X. And then we're going to move across until we can find primitive cylinder right here, this very thin one. And then we're going to go on to snapping here. We're just going to rotate that by 45 degrees. Move that across. We're just going to go on to a quarter snapping here so we can move it across to that. In fact, let's just go on no snapping. Of course, you don't need to get this identical, but for this example, I'm going to try and get it perfect here so it looks lovely and nice for you guys. And then, of course, we're just going to move that up by a half, not a full one. Actually, not a half, sorry. What we're going to do here, just move it across here so we can see a little. In fact, no, we can't do that, can we? What we're going to do then, we're just going to go on no snapping, and we're just going to move this all the way up until we can't see that white at all. So there you go. You can see that's pretty flat. You can't see that white at all now. Looking lovely. So we're just going to place that right there. Beautiful stuff right there. We're going to just drag up by 2. Oh, that hasn't quite... Ooh, that's not nice. Okay, hang on. No, sorry, I've done this wrong here. We need to go down here, go into global space, move across by 2, and up by 1. Move across by 2, up by 1, move across by 2, up by 1, move across by 2, up by 1. You probably get it at this point. You're just going to connect it up into all these poles. As you can see, doesn't really matter, because over here I didn't do it. But you'll see that it slightly sticks out here. So that's not very pretty overall, is it? It's not very pretty. So we're going to try our best to stick it into here because it just makes sense anyway. And everything just looks a lot nicer. So let's move that up there. And finally, up there. Beautiful stuff, guys. Beautiful stuff. I like how this is looking. I hope you all too, because you're building it. So next what we're going to do, sorry, I kind of went without saying anything there. We're going to click Ctrl, Shift, and then we're going to click X there. And we're just going to go like that. We're just going to rotate this by 45 degrees. Let's make sure that we are on relative space rather than global space. And we're just going to move this bad boy up by about a quarter there. Or, sorry, a half there. You could just put a half, but oh well. And then we're just going to move it again by a quarter right there. And then, boom. You've got our first rail there. Pretty simple, isn't it, guys? It's pretty simple. There's not really much to this at this point. It's just a little bit difficult to wrap your head around, but once you do your first bit here, really it's quite simple. Now you'll see this won't line up perfectly. Again, you're just going to have to make this however you need it here, but we're just going to go like that. Then we're going to move this down by a quarter, boom, and then just do the exact same thing. Just drag that all the way up, and that'll look beautiful all the way up there, guys, all the way up. Now, really, I should have colored this because this is going to be a painter color, but I'm going to color this gray right here. Honestly, this is going to take a little while, so I'm just going to do this off camera, and I'll be back to you in just a second. There we go. That actually took less time than I thought it would, so maybe it was actually pointless doing that off camera, but oh well, there we go. We've painted all that, and now that's actually pretty much all of the catwalk done here. Although there is one last thing that I'm going to go through here because it's quite useful to know, because obviously, if I try and turn our automatic supports on right now, it probably won't do a great job. No, you can see there that phase turbine just gave up, just didn't do anything. And if we do it on the multi-launch, there you go, it'll just not do anything really either. Yeah, nothing at all. So there's not really much point in doing that, obviously. And what I recommend you doing rather than trying to work around those supports, is just build your own. So I'm going to quickly show you guys how to build your own supports here. Oh, sorry, I've almost just fallen off my chair. Well done, me. So I'm going to show you how to build proper supports here so that you can just do that yourself. So what we're going to do here then is we're just going to go to this little pole right here, Ctrl Shift and X, sorry, not Ctrl Shift and X, Ctrl Shift and click on this with the eyedropper there. And then what we're going to do is just find this little cylinder right here, rotate this by 45 degrees, and then just move this down like that until it connects in lovely like that. Lovely jubbly stuff. So now we've got all that there, we're just going to drag this all the way down here. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. And then we're going to move across 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And then we're going to drag that all the way up. Honestly, once you've done one of these, you can pretty much work out how this is all going to work. But we're going to go through all of them here just so you guys know exactly what's going on here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Gonna go all, oh crap, no, wrong button. We're gonna go all the way up here. If you're doing it at the same sort of rotation that I am, with this, it will literally line up every single time. If not, of course, just go into a quarter grid or something like that and just move it a little bit, you know, move it a little bit more perfectly so that it connects in a little bit better. But honestly, in this case, it just lines up pretty much perfectly anyway. So it's not exactly the end of the world, is it? Anyway, let's paint that all grey because I keep on forgetting to do that. I do recommend that you choose grey before you actually start doing this here so you don't have to paint it, but honestly, it's not really the end of the world. Now then, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to support it a little bit better because obviously right now, this is shit support. Now, you can do the supports either way, this way or that way, but honestly, I prefer doing it the opposite way from the catwalk here just because it looks a little bit odd, I guess. I don't know, it's not the end of the world, but I prefer doing it this way. It depends on what sort of room you have and that sort of stuff. So let's set this here to a quarter. Sorry, I should have actually spoken through that there. So what we need to do is go on rotation, 11.25% degree snapping there, and then move to a quarter right there. So we're just going to move this across like this, and then up like that, and there you go. Now we're just going to go back onto default snapping and bring that all the way down. Beautiful stuff. And then we're just going to go and do that for all the other ones. But just to make it so that you don't have to watch through me do all these here, I'm just going to show you how to do this bottom brick part here first, and then you guys can get on with that after. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move, you know what, no, let's not do that because that's a stupid idea. Let's do Ctrl Shift and click there, and you'll see we go onto there. We're just going to move all the way across here till we find it. Bloody hell, it's quite wide. This one right here, primitive cylinder, and then literally we're just going to click right there or press G. You know what I mean. And then exact same with this thing, we're just going to go like this. We're going to scroll all the way across. It is a lot of scrolling here because unfortunately it's quite far away. You probably can just type in cylinder here and it'll come up, but honestly I'm just going to go do it this way just for people who don't understand that. We're just going to move on to a quarter here, and we're just going to move that down just a tiny bit. And there you go. I, again, paint mine like bricks. You'll see over here that I did this one a little bit smaller. It's completely up to you. Honestly, I think I do prefer it just being a little bit smaller there, so I just lower it by a quarter there. And I think that does look a little bit better, but it's completely up to your liking and what you'd like to do. Anyway, I'm not going to bother doing all these other ones here because you can already see it here, and it's basically just the same thing over and over. But what I am going to show you here is we're just going to go Ctrl Shift and click again right here. And then we're going to make sure this is 45 degrees. This is the full, and then we're just going to go like that. And then what we're going to go here is go into item snapping settings, go custom snapping, and type in 0.3. Then we can just lift that up by 0.3, and there you go. There is a custom support. Probably not the best custom support in the world. You could probably find better ones on YouTube. I'm honestly not the best when it comes to roller coaster when it comes to roller coaster detailing. But honestly, this is a pretty elegant solution, which is pretty easy in general. Now, this is something that's extremely difficult, and most people, you probably don't really care about this, but I'm going to go through here. It's a little carabiner strap. Now, yeah, like I said, this is extremely you know, over the top. You really don't need to do this. If you are if you're just a general player who just wants to have a cool catwalk, you don't need to include this. But I'm just going to include it anyway, just because I think it'll be nice to include here for you guys. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do Ctrl, Shift, and click again, and then we're just going to click this one right here. Sorry, not this one right here. Boom. And then we're just going to use the 45-degree angle, and we're just going to rotate it like this. Move into here, go to a quarter. In fact, oh no, yeah, to a quarter, sorry. And then we're just going to, then we're not going to do that, sorry. We're going to go 0.1 here on custom snapping, and we're just going to shift that over by 0.1. There we go. Sorry about that, I kind of forgot. You can lower or raise this up. Honestly, it's up to you where you want your carabine strap to be. As you can see, I kind of had the pole on this one. Actually, I did it a little bit higher up than I did over here, but it's completely up to you. I'm just going to have it about the middle right there, as you can see, and honestly, it'll be fine. Now, what we're going to have to do here again is we're just going to have to go onto global space, go over by 2, and then up by 1, over by 2, up by 1. Now, you can technically do this without going into global space and just drag it up. That's actually what I did over there. And like I said, you can feel free to do that, honestly. It's much more simple, although it makes a much less, I guess, polished look to it. It has a much less polished look. So I do recommend you do this global space thing here, even though it is a little bit more of a pain. It'll only take you a couple more minutes overall in the entire tutorial, and it makes it look 1,000 times better. But anyway, let's just paint all these here, because I'm an idiot and I never paint things apparently. So let's just paint all of these like that. And there we go. That's that all in there. All we need to now do, duplicate this again here. Then we need to search up for rope here. I'm just going to search up for rope like this. We're going to go, oh yeah, sorry. We're going to move across, not that much, sorry. We need to move across by just 0.1, like that. And then if we just go back into relative space and then move that up by 0.1 again there, you can do it like that. Or what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go into no snapping here and just make it a little more perfect there. Again, up to you. If you really care that much, you know, go into no snapping like I just did. It depends if you care. And while we're here, I'm just going to call this rope to white, because ropes are like the finished thing in the game, and they're an absolute pain to fucking paint. So I'm actually going to remember to do that early this time, and then we just need to drag that all the way up. Pretty simple. We don't even need to use relative space for this one, because again, you can just like, for example, I'll give you a little example here. Let me just cancel the last one I did. Say this is the end of the fence right here. You can just go into no snapping and just line that up like that. And that's just what you have to do. You just have to customize it for your own thing. But there you go. That is literally the entire tutorial, guys. I'll send up a little guy here, and you can see how that will look here. There we go. You can see this little guy there. He goes up there. Not much room on the edge, honestly, but you know, it's about a character wide. Any wider than this, and it look a bit weird. So I think that honestly looks quite good. Again, you can probably find better on YouTube, but this is a very simple solution to for something that can be used for any sort of player at any moment, at any time, sort of thing. It's a very simple, you know, easy to do solution. Now, like I said at the start, I'm just going to quickly show you what it'd look like if you change your colors here. So I'm just going to change this color here to like this color. Same with this one. I just need to change this one as well here. And then we're going to just change the colors of some other things here. So I'm just going to go into here. And then what I can now just do, I can change the supports here. Actually, I'm not going to change the supports. I'm going to keep them gray. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to keep this all in color here. So I'm going to color it all to blue here. All this catwalk here. Personally, I think it's a bit over the top doing the actual thingy here blue. I think that's a little bit too much, or whatever color you're doing here. But if you just paint not the rope. The rope still needs to stay white. But if you just paint everything blue, like so, it'll all look lovely jabbly. And you'll love life, basically. You'll just love life, guys. You will. I promise. Oh, anyway, right. There you go. That's all that in there. Like I said, well, obviously you want to do these ones here as well, like that. Like I said, you can paint the thingies blue here as well if you'd like to. You can paint the supports, and you can even paint this part blue as well. Although it just depends on how much you want to actually do. and what looks a little too much and what looks right. Honestly, I think that looks a little bit too much. Maybe I'd color the supports white or something. Not metal plates. I'd color these white or something like that, just to give it a bit more difference. And then like maybe change this here to white as well. Maybe something like that, just to make it a little bit more different here. Actually, I don't really like that. Honestly, you can just keep this walkway here as just grey. And I think that'll just look good no matter what, honestly. Because it's metal, it's supposed to be grey, isn't it? So, yeah. Honestly, guys, up to you. It depends on your colour scheme and what you're doing. But there's just a little example of what you could do if you want to recolour it, obviously, because not every single roller coaster is going to be fucking old grey. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much everything I have to show today. If you have enjoyed this, please do leave a like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. And if you really did like this, you can support me on Patreon for just £1 a month or £5, or even more than that, depending on how much you want to help me out. All money goes straight back into the channel. You can also check out my Twitch. I'm streaming over there. Loading. There's also my Discord and all the other channels. They're all down below. All the links you can find down below. But except for that, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in another one. Goodbye.